Welcome back to Strong's Garage.
Yeah, you got Matt, Jim here.
And today we're going to make light work of a few Model Ts.
Hopefully light work, yeah.
Well, they're light because they're stripped down.
Yeah.
We got 3 Model T races in the shop, and they're all 3 of them original 1940s built Alberta Model T racers.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, to get a trio together. They all have their own little bit of history, but we got to do a whole bunch of maintenance to get them ready to race this year. And Dave Dunbar, the sign painter that we used that pinstriped Jim's old motorcycle there, he's going to recreate the original sponsor on one of the cars.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to see.
Yeah. So we made a video on these Model T racers, 2 of them anyways, got to be close to a year ago.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. There's quite a bit of history on the sport and some stuff that we kind of incorporated. There's a little tidbit of actual 1949 race. Not footage, but audio. Yeah. And since then, I've learned a lot. What happened with that last video was really interesting. A fellow called the shop and said, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood, can I come by?" And we said, "Sure." So he stopped in. His dad was the guy who had the yellow racer, the number 24 car, Bob Villetard. Randy came by and brought us a little envelope full of pictures that we'd never seen before. And he actually brought this wristwatch here. He has a few other ones, but he brought this one here, which is now one of my most treasured things. I don't wear it all the time, I'm just wearing it for this video. And I wore it racing. But his dad actually won this watch at a race in Calgary on September 2nd, 1946. So it's a prize watch. I had to have it restored, it was in a little bad shape, but I'm so appreciative of this. It says Bob Villetard, winner of the 2nd Model T races, the Calgary Lions Club, September 2nd, 1946. So that's really cool. Another thing that happened is I'm always looking for history and info on Model T racing. We talked about this in the last video, but it was the springboard to all professional motorsports in Alberta as far as I'm concerned. There was racing before, but not like after. The Model T races here really created a whole class of interest in motorsports. And he gave this program here. So this program is from 1947, from Calgary, Labor Day, same weekend we do our races now. Yeah. And both the cars, the yellow car, number 24, and the number 19 car, are both in here in the same heat. Would have been racing each other back then. And George LeMay was the driver at number 19. We talked about that in the last video too. But George LeMay was probably the very first professional driver in Alberta who made a living most of the year racing. And it was all because of this Model T racing. So let's go work on these old cars.
You bet.
According to the car, it was red originally, but in the picture we have from one of the last races of the car, it's yellow by then. And we recreated this version, which I believe is yellow with black writing. So the original red paint is still underneath all the repaint that we didn't do. So I'm just going to leave it because it's wearing off neatly.
Yeah.
Well, here they are, the Model T racers. That time of year again.
Yeah, the trio themselves.
Yeah.
11, 19, 24.
Yeah.
All in order.
Yeah, from highest to lowest. But the lowest one's in the middle. To the ground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could have to change numbers. Anyways, we're going to get them ready for race season again here, coming up. We have our races that we put on in September, but we're going to go down to Drumheller and race there. We've already done a video on these Model T racers, if you haven't seen it, quite some time ago, on these 2. A little bit of history. We've got a little bit more history since then, and this third one that Jim's going to be running is also one that was built in the 40s. So all 3 of these are 3 original race cars from Alberta in the 1940s.
Yeah, really impressive.
All pretty much largely original too. So we got different things to do to each one to get them ready. This one needs a hub. This one wheel bearing is toast in this one. I gotta do rewiring on number 19. And number 11 just needs a general going over. Not sure where it got left off, but we'll get her prepped up and we'll look through it. So
Yeah, take it over, put it back.
we also had the number 24 painted to match its original regalia as it was last raced by Bob Villitard in 1951. It's kind of neat. Dave Dunbar did that, so let's get to work. All right, you've seen this one, like I said, in past videos, but we've had this recreated. That was the original sponsor of the car. And this car, like I said, was run by Bob Villitard from 1946 when he got back from the war until they finished racing in 1951. So this car, like I said, needs some work. It needs this wheel bearing, this hub on this wheel, the outer wheel bearing has failed. So we're going to press the wheel apart and change this center hub. This wheel bearing, as you can see, its race has spun and ruined the hub. And that's been a problem, looks like, for a few days. But we got a suitable replacement hub here.
Oil lined up to the
Yep.
spindle, ready to go.
Get that done, yeah. Number 19, that used to be piloted by George LeMay, who in his own right became a downright famous racer, and he's in the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. I believe this was his first ride through the 1940s, mid-1940s until about 49. And I got this car, like I said, from Harry Lillo, who's a wonderful friend of ours. And it's largely original. It came out of the Stan Reynolds collection. Harry was telling me that he got this off Stan in about 2005. And Harry's a really big advocate for the history of the sport, real big collector of it. And he has another original race car, but gracious enough to let me get this one off him. And it's quite a fast car. And I'll just show you one of the speed. We had the carburetor off because we were redoing our rules for the league and some measurements. So this is a stock Model T Holly NH. You can see the bore size there. And the one that came off this car, the modified one, has been brazed right up, bored right out. And have a look at look at this. Now there you go. That's quite a difference, eh? Yeah, no kidding. And it's got that modified manifold, so it's pretty darn potent. But this car needs rewiring. We tried really hard not to change anything on the car, but the wiring's been failing, and unfortunately it's just grounding out and shorting out everywhere. So we'll replace it with some cloth covered wire, much in the same vein that they did. Keep it looking kind of period. I think I'm going to also put a column clamp up top here where they never had one, because it gets a little wiggly at speed. So that's what we're going to do to this one. In the last video we weren't 100% sure what this was. This reverse box to change the angle. And now we know that it is in fact a window regulator from like a 1920 to 21 to 25 Model T coupe or two-door or whatever. They would have a screw system that ran to the track, but that's what that is. That's a window regulator from Model T. Pretty darn neat.
Yeah, right.
And another thing we noticed too is this. Radiator support rod is in fact a Model A Ford brake rod that's been cut and affixed. So that's kind of neat. Waste not, want not.
Oh, the hose clamps are getting changed out on
Oh, we're
it
going to
too.
put more
That's
period
gonna be
hose
big,
clamps
yeah.
on it. Yeah, these are kind of a bugger. They're fine, but they just try and,
And this fuel
and probably
filter,
do a little bit more vintage look here and get it more into the period that it was, which I'm thinking like 1948, 49. And yeah, so that'll be fun. Get through that again, get it running again. I haven't heard it in a while, so get after that.
Then there's this machine right here, number 11, that our good friend Bill has been gracious enough to let me take out for a spin this weekend. And yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Yet again, another original car. And
Pretty wild front suspension, ain't
front
you?
suspension is the coolest. So no, it's amazing. If you look at all three, the yellow one being the most stockish, to just all the different ways they brought him lower to the ground.
What I find interesting about this one is the rear. They've got the same issue on the rear. Or the same thing.
Yes, yes.
So they've
Or your pumpkin's kicked out the back.
yeah, the pumpkin's way out the back. They've taken where the spring perch used to go, and they've taken where the brakes used to be, the actuator, and they've moved the perch to the brake hole. Now when you do that, you have to either shorten the frame, which number 19, if we look at, same thing done to it, but they cut the frame here and shortened the frame to make up for the difference. On this car, instead of doing that, they added a second front cross member and moved the entire car back.
Yeah, very funny how to get away from machining a shorter drive shaft, They just either shorten the frame
Extreme
or
frame modifications.
frame modifications.
The cockpit, upside down
Yeah.
steering wheel. Yeah, it's largely
Very
original
good,
as well.
Yeah.
What else do we have to do to this one?
We'll just check out the transmission, the bands on it, and do some lubrication of all the various points.
Give it a good
Get
clean.
it running, get some of this cat food out of here, and
Yeah, it should be fun.
yeah, it'll be very good.
So,
Put
yeah.
fuel in it.
3 T's, 3 ways. Okay, number 24 got restored hub we pushed in here. The other hub was really worn on the outside here, so we got new bearing races and the new hub pushed into the wheel here, so it's ready to slide back on. We're going to do a little bit of fortifying of the wheels like they did back in the day on this one. This one never had that, but better safe than sorry. So it's coming along swimmingly. And this one, we've got the carburetor back on. We're going to whip up another fuel line. I started rewiring it. I really didn't want to because it was the original wiring, but it was just so poor. And it was arcing out here in places and kind of bagged. So we actually have the exact same wire, so you won't even know. And the only concession I had to make is because we ran out of friction tape. It's going to have, for now, some plastic tape, but the old knife switch will be back in play. And what else did we do? I've changed 2 of the top hose clamps. I'm going to notch these. These are old 40's universal fit clamps we have, so we'll swap the bottoms and then get it running again. Jim filled up the rear end, so yeah, battery's charging, so things are coming along swimmingly.
Yeah, really getting there. We solved numerous problems on number 11 here. There was a piece of pipe here that had busted off. We've installed a bolt. Now catches that so it doesn't go too far. Yeah, got some pins and stuff going on in the linkage for the low gear, high or main clutch linkage. Got that back together. Unforeseen starter solenoid bolt issue that's been sorted out. A lot of lubrication. Tethered the battery down with this high tensile wire. And yeah, just a good general lookings over.
Just about ready to light him up. So that's it so far. We'll keep plugging away and check back in on him in a minute here. Well, there we go. First one back together, hopefully. We'll do the first start in a couple of years. It's been sitting, eh?
Oh yeah. See if she'll fire up. Should.
It was parked running.
Parked running, yes. No reason it shouldn't.
And while Dave Dunbar was here painting that yellow, the Villitard car, with his sponsor, we got him to paint a little slogan here on the shop. So it says, "We repair automobiles and fix Fords."
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll bring him in, Jim, and you can show him the procedure.
Oh, great. Okay, so I was going to say step 1 is get in, but actually it's turn the fuel on. We cannot do that from the seat. So I'll just reach in here. You're in the on position. Climb in this beast here. Pop the hood, eh? So, yeah, this has got a little modified controls. These do nothing. It's got a foot feed for a throttle now. And this is the spark advance and retard. Leave out is retard, in to advance it. So, and then we've got our light switch has been rigged up now for our coils. So we'll turn her on here. Buzzing action, good. This lovely little knobs are choke, so maybe we'll see here. And this is our starter button. So we'll give it a couple chokes. Then retard, hit the key and fire it up.
Okay, on to round 2.
Yeah, we've got our drip fixed. 2 volts flowing into the battery.
Alright, spark it up.
Alrighty. Let's hit it here.
Take 3.
Take 3, yeah. Got our idle sorted out. We've got hopefully everything sorted out. Should just be a turnkey affair.
Last but not least, number 19, the George LeMay car. My favorite car almost in the whole world. A little bit of rewiring.
The fuel line.
New fuel line, yeah.
The hose clamps.
A little more period. Other than that,
2 oil drippings on all the moving parts. And
yeah, let's get her fired up. It's been about a year. So yeah, we got jam, we got batteries charged. We've got fuel on, so we'll leave that off. Open this up. Coincidentally, we'll see who's got the fastest car this weekend. Alright, want to just pull that wheel a couple of times?
yeah.
Oh, I got it from here.
I've been pulling my wheel all day.
Okay. Power, a little bit of throttle, a little of that, a little of this. Hit it.
Ready? You ready?
Yep.
need to come up with one of those things like they start dragsters there, a wheel, and spin it.
Yeah, run another team.
Or have another tee with a wheel off
Yeah.
on blocks, and then you just put a little flat belt on. One with electric starter.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm tired just watching that.
No smoke, no fire.
So what's going on? I wonder if we do have water in this thing.
I never heard a coil buzz yet, though.
Oh, they're running away. There's fuel there.
Turn out the old gas, how's that sound? Give her another couple of pulls, I'll just choke it again and I can give her a couple of tugs. Alright, lost fuel. Yeah. Here, see if we saw.
Oh, gee, damn near had her there. If you wouldn't have
Hey,
stopped it, it would have started.
Bugger! Okay, well, we're getting somewhere. of the things that's really fun about this is that although they are, in my mind, priceless artifacts, as far as Alberta's history is concerned, in the racing, they're still cars. So it's fun to get out and use them. And to me, the footage of us racing around, having fun with the car, I was wearing this wristwatch, and we were driving all these original cars. Like I've said before, that's like time traveling. And it's a lot of fun to get together with a group of guys that just like to have fun.
Oh, it's neat to see that many Model T's, let alone T's, but race cars in one place ripping around the circles.
And so you say, well, Alberta motorsports history, that's my favorite thing, is like early racing in Alberta, early hot rod clubs and drag racing. So after Model T's, we actually have a really special thing today to show you. We're not going to do a full tour on it, but we're going to explain it. George LeMay and a group of guys instrumental in creating the next leap of racing, which was the Alberta Auto Racing Association, the AARA, in 1951. And they had 12 cars. And we have one original one here, which we'll show you quickly, which is as raced. And then, at the exact same time, stock car racing was taking off, and there was a whole group of guys that either went sprint car racing or stock car racing. And one of the original racers back in the day, Gordon Rasmussen, his brother was Eldon Rasmussen, Indy fame. I mean, we could talk to her blue in the face about this, but this is a rough overview of how important Model T racing is to the sport of auto racing in Alberta. And I find it very interesting.
Well, it's incredible.
Anyway, let's go look at this car real quick. Well, here it is. This is one of the original 12 Alberta Auto Racing Association cars. This car was built and campaigned by Lou Widener from Blackie, Alberta. He had a garage called Blackie Motors, and he built this car. And it was last raced, like I said, in about 1954 or 55, and it's just been parked. And his son, Dave, is gracious enough to let us have the car here at the shop. So we'll do a feature on it one day, but I thought we'd just show the evolution of motorsports one car at a time, because we do have also a original early 1950s stock car.
Oh yeah.
Which we have yet to show. Like this racing stuff is really cool when you get into the meat and potatoes of it. But there it is, flathead V8, 35 forward rear axle, more or less just a Alberta garage farmer build sprint car. But again, instrumental in where we're at today as far as racing is concerned. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed that little view into the world of Model T racing.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you on the next one.